This one's great. Why be Mormon? Why be Mormon? I think
For the Jell-O salad, hello.
Oh, yum. Yes.
no. Oh, no.
The cute boys. Come on.
What makes us different than any other religion?
Have you ever heard of Heavenly Mother?
Oh,
that's my favorite. That's my favorite.
Mormons are not all in Utah. We're all over the world. We're everywhere.
But did you see? All of us on this panel are not in Utah. Mormons have a way of making deserts just bloom.
No one does community like our church.
Well, it's amazing how productive people can be when you take away alcohol and you make them have kids young.
Why are Mormons so hot? No, is that the one?
Because we have an extra layer of clothing.
So many people believe that, even though their church doesn't teach it. From God, there is a living, breathing, alive church.
This goes all the way back to Adam.
We focus on his resurrection more so than his death.
I think every once in a while we forget what we have, and then we realize what we have. We're like, oh my gosh, I have to share this with everybody. This is so awesome.
This video is brought to you by ScriptureNotes.com. For a free trial to Scripture Notes, please make sure you check out the link in the description.
And today we are going to be talking about why are Mormons so... Got to fill in the blank. We are going to be going over all of these hilarious and insightful questions. With that, Tikla, do you want to start it off?
Yes. Okay. So I went online and found Google's most searched questions for us. So I feel like I need one of those boards with like the Peely tape. Have you guys seen those shows where they like answer questions about themselves? That's what we're doing. Here we go. So these are no particular order, though I didn't cherry pick. These were actually, they were all remarkably positive, which I think deserves a moment, actually.
Yes.
I have Googled our church over the years, and it's not usually this positive. So I wonder if we're kind of having a moment. I don't know. I'm excited because people are being nicer than they've been in the past. So hooray for that.
Or
so
Mormons are getting nicer. Maybe we used to be mean.
Maybe we were meaner. The internet's getting nicer. I don't know about that. But so why can't Mormons eat was a good one. We'll start out there. Why can't Mormons eat fries, chocolate?
Oh, wait, we're not supposed to eat those?
Pork? Or McDonald's.
Well, I mean,
explain why.
That's not us.
The answer is obvious.
So I know that Mormons are encouraged to eat chocolate. I think that it was like a mandate around the time I was getting married that all wedding receptions had to have chocolate fountains.
Oh
my God. So we are required to eat chocolate.
I don't know about that. I mean, oops.
I was going to say
there were a lot of those.
The reason's obvious. It's because you can't can any of these things. Well, I guess you could can pork, but we only eat canned things. So things that we grow, we can't grow McDonald's. So
did you make it from your own garden?
Exactly.
Then? No, I think, what are they getting us mixed up with the Amish maybe? Is that what's happening here?
Maybe.
We can't eat fries. Utah made its own sauce for them. We can't
that's true.
eat
Fry sauce.
Yeah. There's actually fry sauce in Portland, in some of the restaurants in Portland, and it specifically says not made in Utah.
What? Oh, why? Why do you think it says that?
I don't know.
That's so funny.
That's really funny. Okay.
That's elitism, apparently.
Yeah. And we can't eat pork. We can't eat McDonald's. Why are Mormons in Utah? Why are
Valid
we in
question.
Utah?
Valid question.
Because we got exiled from every other state that we were in, and now we settled in Utah.
And we were kicked out of every other state. We went past the borders of the United States, back where we could just worship and live in peace. Didn't last very long. We
were founded on the East Coast, and we had a great time in Missouri, but then people weren't so fond of us there. So I think lots of miscommunications, lots of concerns that the members of the church were gaining too much political power. I think that was a big one. Also, we were a little too anti-slavery for everybody. They weren't a fan of that at the time. And then ultimately we were kicked out of Missouri, moved to Nauvoo. Well, it was Illinois, a swampy, mosquito-y marsh. And they turned it into a beautiful city of Nauvoo. And then ultimately were persecuted so badly by militia and mobs and when they asked for help, the governor said, maybe you guys should leave the country. And sure enough, that ended up being the plan. Brigham Young took everybody out of what was the United States at the time, out west, and some to Mexico. And so
what's
we settled
amazing,
in Utah.
I love that you said that Nauvoo was a swampy, gross place. Salt Lake was also a desert. Mormons have a way of making deserts just bloom. They're hardworking. They're determined.
Bad and turning it around. Yeah.
And then other people get FOMO and they want to join us.
It's true. It's true. I think that was one of the other questions is why is everyone moving to Utah?
So I think that is showing up on Google because of all my kids. Like all their friends are moving to Utah. So they're probably like, why is everyone moving to Utah?
Sad.
Like whenever we hear, if ever I'm saying, oh, so-and-so's moving, they go, it better not be to Utah.
We have had a lot of people move to Utah from our area. It's been sad, but yeah. I also think there's a lot of people from California moving to Utah. There's like the mass exodus to Texas and Florida and Utah. So.
Are you seeing that, Brittany? Are you seeing people leave your area
our ward got dissolved because we were so small. And now we're part of another state. So yeah, and a lot of people during COVID, it was just a mass exodus to all those states you just mentioned and Tennessee. Tennessee was a big one too.
I haven't heard that one as much.
I'm surprised everyone moved to Utah, even though there's no McDonald's or French fries or chocolate or pork there.
They have Fizz and Swig.
How can you have a quality of life without French fries?
Well, and to this question, another clarifying answer maybe is Mormons are not all in Utah. There are a lot of Latter-day Saints in Utah, but we're all over the world. We're everywhere.
But did you
Actually, all of us on this panel are not in Utah.
Yeah, none of us are from
We're
Utah.
all spread out East Coast, West Coast. Yep.
And isn't
did
it
you
true?
see in the
Go,
Brittany.
Isn't it true that there's more members outside of America than inside America?
Oh, yeah.
More of an international religion? Yeah.
I feel like
In
that
fact-
happened during COVID. There was that shift happened where we officially had more members outside of the United States, or maybe it was North America.
Might have, I was going to say,
But we are a global religion.
earlier than that. I think South
might have-
America is catching up too.
Oh, there you go.
So
And
did you
now
see
Africa.
in General Conference how they're remodeled Temple Square, like all the new landscaping there, and they have flags from all over the world in front of church headquarters now, which is perfect. I mean, they've had that at the MTC, but I think having that at the church office building is so significant, really, to show that this isn't
That's
just
really
this
cool.
office building for this Utah church. Like they are really governing a church all around the world.
Why are Mormons so successful?
I had someone ask me this years ago. I was on the beach with some friends, the North Carolina beach, and one of the wives that we had met, they're Christian Southerners. She's like, why are Mormons so successful? We say you guys are like the new Jews. I was like, thank you. I was like, well, it's funny. My answer for her was because sometimes you don't know how you're seen. You don't know how you see yourself. You can't see yourself clearly. And her impression was just like, she's like, Mormons are just so successful. I've actually had people ask us that in the military as well, because Mormon officers are kind of known around the war in Iraq as like this new up and coming group of like good leaders. And my answer to her, the girl on the beach, was, well, it's amazing how productive people can be when you take away alcohol and you make them have kids young. Make them get married and have kids young. It's like a recipe for anyone to be very productive, because you're like, oh, I got to provide for these kids. Got to figure out what I'm doing.
Yeah, wait to have sex till you get married, have kids young, and don't
Give
get
up
addicted
alcohol.
to stuff. Yeah, it's a pretty good recipe.
Also, too, we're such a goal-oriented people and religion. Like from the time we're in primary, I mean, it's like, have a goal to be baptized. And then it's, also, like personal progress. They probably don't do that anymore. But that was such a goal-setting thing. And going to the temple, it was a goal. Like you're constantly reaching towards goals. And I also think it's so insightful that we give primary children the opportunity to give talks or to memorize a scripture or memorize an article of faith. Like we're constantly learning. We're a constant religion and people that are craving new insights and knowledge. And so I think we're just very goal oriented.
Really good point.
Yeah, like the parable of the talents, that has always stuck with me. Like, don't just bury your talents. You got to multiply, increase, help others. When we were talking about the parable of the talents with our family, we said that the people who just buried their talents, they weren't helped and nobody else was. But the guy who made more, like, he was a businessman, right? He was out in the community doing trading and creating value. He was working, so he was blessing everybody around him. Also, he wasn't taking from anybody. So that mindset of just always going out there and trying to increase definitely applies to business world and success as well. And also, I think integrity is a big thing.
I was just going to say, that was my answer, is that I think trust is the most important commodity. So if you're in a culture that has a high level of trust, then business flows freely. You're not hindered by a whole lot of roadblocks and rules that require you to keep people honest. When you're in a community where people trust each other, it's amazing. Like anyone can just open a business because there's just a lot of trust, a lot of social fabric amongst Latter-day Saint communities. And so I think that helps.
Yeah.
Let's see. What have we got next? What makes Mormon religion different? I thought this one was a fun one. And it's kind of restated in a few different ways. But yeah, what makes us different than any other religion?
Have you ever heard of Heavenly Mother?
Oh,
that's my favorite. That's my
check
favorite.
Out Rachel Patterson at Women in the Priesthood.
My favorite is that, and this is another situation where sometimes we don't realize what we have, because and that's true. Like it's even individually, it's hard to see yourself clearly. You just don't know what you have because you don't know it. But we don't just believe in like a physical Heavenly Father who's a real being, but we also believe in a completely separate, equal, physical Heavenly Mother who is a literal physical being. And most of the Christian world still believes in the Trinity. And Islam's concept, which is, there's so many Muslims in the world, their concept of God is that he's like everywhere and nowhere. It's like an energy and like a force. So their conception of God isn't that God even has a body. So the fact that we believe in like an actual real physical Heavenly Mother who's a central character in this story, I think is just the coolest. Like, yeah. I just think that's the coolest thing. I always want to tell women about that.
Yeah. We have a divine feminine representation in a Heavenly Mother, and our perception of the three divine roles. We've got God the Father, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. We believe that they're separate beings, but that they're so unified that when one speaks, it's as if the other one is speaking. So they are so united in purpose that they are one, but that they do have distinct beings and that you can know them each individually. And so that's, I think, very unique to us. Maybe we don't even realize how. Though I do think so many people believe that, even though their church doesn't teach it. Like when people are taught that principle, they know, oh, that rings really true to me. I believe that. In fact, I was talking to a friend just the other day and trying to explain that to her. And she goes, oh, that's what I believe. I was like, oh, well, perfect. You want to come on Sunday? The other thing I love about our faith that I think is unique is that we believe that we have a claim to authority. So we believe that the priesthood authority from God has been restored on the earth. So that's authority to build temples, to preach the gospel in his name, to seal families together forever. So many things that are tied to that. Those authorities, those keys that were given to Peter, the head apostle, and have now been were kind of lost and have been restored on the earth again. So we believe that we have that authority. So anyone can find truth on the earth. There's so much goodness, so much light. You can have access to the Savior Jesus Christ, no matter who you are or where you are. But in his church that's been restored, there is authority from God. There is a living, breathing, alive church that he is at the head of. And so that's something unique we bring to the table too.
Yeah, I love that. Our church is built just like the church in the New Testament, right? Jesus called 12 apostles. He walked with them. He taught with them. That's literally our church today. We have 12 apostles that lead and guide us straight from him.
I think in the two. Oh, go ahead, Charlotte. Sorry.
Go ahead. And to go with that too, something that I've just been learning a lot about lately is that not only is this the restored church from when Jesus was on the earth, goes all the way back to Adam. Like this church, our authority, our doctrines of the Messiah, what we know about the fall, authority, baptism, temple rights, all of this goes back to Adam. So our church isn't just, I love how Jacob Hansen recently said, like, it's not just a Bible study group that is now really big with the head pastor. Like we trace our roots back to the very beginning. And this is all just one long eternal round that is on the earth, and then people mess it up, is back on the earth, and people mess it up and is back on the earth. And so we have the fullness of the gospel, of the priesthood, of so many doctrines on the earth today, our knowledge of the Messiah. So that's something that makes our religion so different and so awesome, is that it's not from nowhere. It's been here a long time.
Yeah, well, it's a new dispensation has been opened. So, right, there's Adam's dispensation, Noah, Abraham, all of these great patriarchs. And now we have a head of this dispensation who was Joseph Smith. And this is the last one. This is the last dispensation in the latter days before Christ comes again. And there's a lot of work to do. So come help us, because there's a lot of great work to do.
Another thing that comes to mind too of what makes our religion different, I would say patriarchal blessings. I think it's so profound that we have direct access to our Heavenly Father. He has direct access to us, and he, through the patriarch, talks to us and gives us, I don't know, like a blueprint or, just something that, can help us guide in our lives, just straight inspiration for what we need. And I know when I read my patriarchal blessing in different stages of my life, different things pop out, like something where I'm like, how's that going to happen? Like, I have no idea. And then I reach another stage in my life and I'm like, oh, that's what that means. And it's just, I don't know. I just think it's so cool. It's kind of, I might get in trouble for this. It's kind of like mystical, like I'm kind of like into that. And I think it's really cool.
I know, like when I have talked to friends on a kind of like a practical, tangible in your life difference that my friends in high school were always really interested in, and friends who've ever come to church, the doctrine and the main message that they're so fascinated by. And it's also the reason why my aunts, my sisters who have left the church will never join another church, is the doctrine of eternal families, that we believe that families can be together forever. Because if you really believe that families can be together forever, it changes your whole concept of death. And I think Russell M. Nelson said in General Conference was it Nelson or Hales? Someone said, we actually don't believe in death. We don't actually, not the way that everybody else does. We actually just believe you're just kind of transferring to another, like,
state of being.
Yeah. We like, if families can be together and we know we have a chance to see each other again, that doesn't really exist the way we think it does, which is such a cool topic, because I don't think anybody cares about anything more than their family relationships and being with their family forever. There's nothing more hopeful and amazing and promising than that idea.
Yeah. And this kind of dovetails into the next question, which is, why are Mormons not Christian?
Oh boy.
Which I think our answer would be, we are Christian. We are. But I guess if we were to ask, why do we not get included in the club very often in mainstream Christianity? I think it really comes back to our understanding of God as a Godhead being individual beings. They don't like that. So there's a lot of variety in the way that people conceptualize Christ and his teachings. But for some reason, because we believe that they are distinct individual beings and that they're that it's a tangible, it's not just a nothing around everywhere and all things. It's a being who is everywhere through the Spirit, through the Holy Spirit, but that he is someone you can meet face to face, which to me just seems so biblical. So I don't understand why that would get us kicked out of the club. But when we are kicked out, that's usually why, because we believe that God is embodied, that he's our father, our literal father.
I find it interesting. Yeah, I find it interesting that people are searching for, why aren't Mormons Christian and why aren't Mormons saved? As if they hear it and it doesn't make sense to them.
Yes.
Because they think like, of course they're Christian. I think like they're amazing people. Of course they're saved. So they hear a pastor or they hear someone say they're not Christian, they're not saved. And so they go to Google and like, what am I missing? Because this doesn't make sense.
These people seem great. What's going on here?
Yeah. And I think sometimes like the symbol of Christianity is the cross, right? And in our buildings, there are no crosses because we don't focus on his death. We focus on his rebirth. We focus that he is alive and leading us today. And so I think sometimes people think Christianity means cross, and because we don't have crosses on our buildings, they think we're not Christian.
Yeah, that could be too. Absolutely. Though if you do come to one of our meetings, you'll find him under the sacrament tablecloth. That's where he's represented in our meetings. His body and his blood is there on the sacrament table, and we partake of him every week. So he's there. But yeah, I think we focus on his resurrection more so than his death. Mm-hmm. But I also love how the cross is a really beautiful symbol for so many people. I have found connection with the cross in my own way too. So
I have like 2 cross necklaces and I love wearing them. But it's just not, I don't know why it's not part of like our buildings. And I think it's just because we don't focus on his death. I don't know.
It's not a crazy interesting story, but we could get into it. I think it's just mostly what we've said so far. And maybe it'll come back a little bit. Or another question. Anything else on why we're not Christians? All right. This one's great. Why be Mormon? Why be Mormon? I think we've touched on a lot of that already. I think
for the Jell-O salad, hello.
Oh, yum. Yes.
No. Oh, no.
The cute boys. Come on.
That was one of the searches we just did before this episode. Cute Mormon boys.
We got some of the handsomest husbands in the world out there.
I would say because, like, if I had to answer this question for somebody quick and dirty, right? And not in a missionary way, just like in my own feelings about this. Why should you be a member of the church? I think because our church is alive. Like, I have gone to these old cathedrals, these old monasteries and church buildings, and you can feel the like deep connection to like these ancient people who worshipped, who were building things to God. And now what they built has died. Like, it's not alive. It's crumbling and it's old. And there's something beautiful about what is old. But if you come join us in the Church of Jesus Christ, you will find a church that is revitalized, that's alive, that is renewed. And so it's so exciting because there's movement and there's energy. And so when we say the church has been restored, it's like, it's been restored. Here are all the things that we do, just like the apostles. It's like, no. It's alive. Things are happening. There's an energy. We are looking forward to Christ coming. We go to the temple and we kneel at the altar at the feet of God and touch his hands, like symbol. It's incredible. It's so vibrant and energetic and alive. So come see for yourself.
I also think great. Too, like, okay, so I believe you can find Jesus anywhere and Jesus will find you anywhere, right? So I don't think you need to be in our religion to know Jesus. But that being said, our religion does know Jesus. And also take it from like a secular standpoint. No one does community like our church. I think you go anywhere in the world, and if you walk into one of our church buildings, it's the same lesson that you're going to see on another part of the world. And you will have instant friendship. You're going to be plugged in with the Relief Society. Your kids are going to have primary activities. You're going to have weekly activities. You're going to be at church on Sunday. Like, you can receive help when you have a baby. Like, there's just so many things. You're just plugged into this whole community that we really just love each other because we love him.
Yeah. Absolutely. One of the questions was, why do the Mormons keep showing up at my door? And here's our life hack for this. It goes along with what Brittany was saying. And that is send them in the back to chop wood, have them clean your bathrooms, ask them to mow your lawn.
Gosh.
They will be so thrilled. They will be so excited. I'm telling you, they preach the gospel all day. When someone gives them a project, these young men, they need something to do. So put them to work. That's what you do if they keep showing up at your door.
That's a good hack.
So happy.
Actually. That's a really good hack.
It's a win-win.
That's a great hack. I thought of a great dad joke for that. They're selling pest control because Satan is the greatest pest.
Put on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Well, let's see what was next.
What about the beauty one?
The beauty one. Why are Mormons so hot? No, is that the one?
Because we have an extra layer of clothing.
Because we're sweating. No. Oh dear.
No, it's in there. That's one of the questions. I got it on the screen right now.
It is.
Why are Mormons so hot?
Yeah, do they mean like temperature or physical? I don't know.
No, I think we're generally known for being beautiful people. I mean, if you look at what we had to work with, like the pioneer women, weren't there like all these quotes about how they were not that cute, like they were not that attractive. Sorry, pioneer ancestors, you were working really hard.
But we're their descendants. They had some good genes, right?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to make of these questions. I think we take care of ourselves.
It's the word of wisdom.
Word of wisdom.
I saw this on an interview with the Real Housewives of Modern Wives cast. And they were like, why are you guys so pretty? You all look so good. And then they asked about the word of wisdom. And they're like, wait a minute. You don't drink coffee or wine? That's it. And then they brought up this interviewer brought up the point about Romney. When he ran, he looked people couldn't believe how old he was because he looked so young to them. Mm-hmm. And they were like, oh, it's because you don't drink alcohol, you don't smoke, and you literally just age slower because you just take care of your bodies, that much longer, which
it's not why we do it, but this little
and
side
people
benefit.
might not know with Russell M. Nelson was he gave up sugar in like his 50s. Charlotte, you read the autobiography or the biography. Like
actually that wasn't in there.
He's given up sugar for years because he saw what it did to the human heart, and he also felt inspired that he needed to preserve his life. So it's kind of crazy that he has lived so long, so well, because I think he felt very inspired to level up his dietary habits to create a sense of healthy longevity. He felt inspired to do that. So he'll go to people's houses. He won't eat chocolate or sugar.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay. So speaking of word of wisdom, I'm glad I looked this up. So one of the good questions was, why are Mormons so rich? And I thought, well, we're not spending money on coffee or alcohol. And the average Mormon spends about $1,000 a year. Sorry, the average American spends about $1,000 a year on coffee. And that's one person. So in a household, that could be about $2,000.
Okay, but we're also paying tithing. I don't know, guys. Like,
don't you feel like there's kind of a spirit of entrepreneurship in our culture?
Are we even that much more wealthy? Like, is that just a myth? Like, I don't even know if that's a thing. Like, I mean,
I don't think it's
I'll take it if that's the
It's definitely a general, it's definitely a general perception.
Yeah.
Coming back to we're a global church now, but like I've had friends drive out west and drive to Utah, and she was British and she was doing like an American, her first trip to America. And she goes out to Utah. She goes, everyone is so wealthy. And I was like, yeah, I guess. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if it's the fact that we were settled in the West, and the West has a kind of like, I don't know, like cowboy, make it happen energy. But like, I've always felt like there's kind of a culture of like a business-minded entrepreneurship, kind of get it done energy that is kind of a backdrop to our religious culture, if that makes sense. Like, it's not in our religion, but it's kind of predominant. I mean, you're a business owner, Charlotte. I don't know if you felt that.
Is it because you remember the church that you...
For sure.
All right.
Because we're desperate to get out of hot Arizona. We're like, well, no one will hire you. Let's just buy our own business to get out of here.
All right. Why are Mormon temples so nice? We'll do some of these kind of rapid fire. Why are they so nice? Because we're really building them to God. They're a place to do the most important work. And so they deserve our most important effort, our most intentional beauty, in the same way that the cathedrals and beautiful things were built in days past. So we're trying to have that same spirit alive as we try to worship. Why are there so many Mormons on YouTube? I think we've discussed this a little bit before. I think there's a lot of reasons. One of my favorites is that we're family-friendly people. And so you can YouTube and have a family do it with you. So that's kind of a cool option for people who really want to spend time with their families. And also family-friendly content is G-rated, which means everyone loves it. Everyone can resonate with it. You can watch it with your kids. So it can kind of become more part of your life. Like, I mean, we watch so many YouTubers, and my kids are always like, wait, they're members of the church too? They're members of the church too? And they feel it's kind of cool. We love that.
Shout out to the Ninja Kids. My kids are obsessed with the Ninja Kids. I don't know if you guys watch them.
We watch Mark Rober.
Follow the show. Leave a comment.
That?
We would die. The Ninja Kids, they're this great little family of 4 or 5 kids, and the dad's like a ninja dojo leader, and all the kids do gymnastics, and I don't know. I feel like it's great. I love it. They're a great little family.
And I think it's part of our like missionary spirit too. It's when we have something that we love, like we want to share it. So we love our families. We want to share it. We love
the outdoors.
We want to share it. Like Rachel, you've got this amazing channel, Women in the Priesthood. Like you feel so strongly about how awesome women are and how we can work with the priesthood. And you want to share that.
Yeah, we get so excited. We get so excited about I think every once in a while we forget what we have, and then we realize what we have. We're like, oh my gosh, I have to share this with everybody. This is so awesome.
We love the Outdoor Boys. That's another one.
That's another good one.
He's a member. And some of them are covert. Like, I don't even want to out them because they're kind of like slipping under the radar, and I don't want them to have to deal with why do you have extra wives and weird comments, Speaking of, oh no, that's not the next one. Yes, it is. Why Mormons have multiple wives. I don't have any wives. Do you guys have any wives? No, wives. Okay, moving on. No, just kidding. So every religious tradition has a history of polygamy. All of them, especially Abrahamic religion. So there's a history of polygamy in every religion. Ours is just a little closer than some others. So a little more closer in history. We had a period of time in our early church history where we were practicing plural marriage while everyone was still alive. So it was recent enough that we get more flack for it than most religions. And it's associated with the principle of eternal families. So those two are linked together. And I think a lot of it has to do with the messiness of eternal families. In order to make it a just principle where God can be ultimately fair to all of his righteous children, especially his righteous daughters, he needs to be able to offer exaltation in an eternal family to everyone. And that requires some sacrifice on all of our part. So we believe most people will be in monogamous 1 man, 1 woman marriages eternally if they choose marriage for heaven. But there might be some family arrangements that look a little bit different. And so that's a principle that was restored through Joseph Smith. And it's not one we practice anymore. And we're all really grateful about that. I don't know a single person alive who wishes they lived back in that time. But we do think that there's that it's a principle from God that can be instated by him when he needs it, when it's a time for it. And now is not a time for it. And we're all pretty grateful.
Also, back then, I mean, we were being killed. We were being hunted and killed.
Yeah.
And the men
it was legal to kill us on sight.
Yeah. And you have these men that were killed and these women with children left defenseless on the plains or wherever they were at the time. And they needed protection and they needed financial security. And it wasn't, just because some men wanted sex with all these women. It wasn't some perverse thing. It was literally they needed to be taken care of.
Yeah. And that wasn't always the case. There's lots of different ways that it played out, but that was definitely one of them where older women would be taken in as wives in order to care for them and things like that. So yeah, it's the spirit of it is uniting the family of God. It's not a spirit of opportunism or taking advantage of women or sexual appetites. It's very much in the spirit of family And ultimately, we're all brothers and sisters in God in the end. So there you have it.
And we stopped practicing polygamy when?
Oh, yes. That was what? I don't have the date on the top of my head. I've written it down somewhere. Yeah, it's been
We
a
don't
while.
do it anymore.
We don't do it anymore.
That's the final point. It's like, we don't do it anymore.
Nope. You won't have to be asked to do that.
And you're going to be hard pressed to find any men insane enough to want that to happen again.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's not like our men are like, man, wish they'd bring that back. Because
they're like,
what?
geez, you know what I need in my life? Another wife. That's what I really need.
Okay, there was an episode of Ward Radio. I can't remember who was on it, but I remember just I think I was in the studio just listening, and I started cracking up. Tikla, what you just said about, the pioneer women, they weren't that pretty, right? They were kind of butch. I remember Cardin made a joke, and he was like, who? Look at the picture of that woman. Do you think polygamy would have been a blessing? That's a curse.
That's probably a Don Bradley episode.
I do not condone this message. I started it. Our ancestors were beautiful people. I'm sure.
So much
moving
respect for
on.
them.
Why do Mormons have basketball courts?
This is one of your mom jokes, your dad jokes, Charlotte.
Come on, Charlotte.
Go for it.
Oh,
help us out. No.
As a missionary tool, we suck people in. Come play
sport.
basketball, and then you can cool off afterwards in the baptismal font. That's why we have.
Yikes! All of ours are getting turned into pickleball courts. I don't know about you guys.
Yep.
But yeah, all of our buildings have a basketball court. I think it's just tradition at this point. The big gym you can do stuff in. But I was talking to my boys' soccer coach this summer, and he was talking to some other guy like, well, and if you can't find a place to play, you can always find the Mormons. All of their churches have a gym in them. And then he turns to me and he goes, isn't that right? Like, isn't that true? And I was like, yeah, actually. Yeah. And you're welcome to them. Come and ask if you can use them. We've got a gym in all of our buildings.
And
at
they
least
all have that
in North
scratchy seagrass wall too. Why do we have that? I don't know.
I have core memories of running my hand along that as a little kid, just and then your fingers feel all tingly and weird. All right. Why do Mormons have so many kids? Charlotte, you have the most kids. You should answer.
Kids are amazing. Kids are the best. I love kids. I love when each one is born, you get to see a whole new personality. I love how you get to see yourself in your kids. It's so wonderful seeing them grow up into their own person, the things they love. Plus, it's really nice having help around the house. Actually, now that I say that, I think maybe they create more.
I'm going to say, what kind of kids
create
did you
more
get?
work than they provide. So never mind. Maybe back in the farming days when you had lots of grown sons, they could help on the farm. So I take that back. They're a lot of work.
I think if more women had more support for having kids, more women would have more kids. I think that's a big reason I think I've had as many kids as I've had is I have support because of my family and my church. And so it makes it easier to have kids that you want to have. I think a lot of women don't have children at all or don't have more children than they do because they're all alone. They have nobody to help them.
When we lived in Arizona, when we had our fourth and fifth child, no family around, and Jonah was traveling a lot for work. And so you can have children when you don't have support too, because that is what's so great about a ward is that wards could I had friends who also didn't have family. Like those of us who didn't have family, we became each other's family. Like if there was a family that had parents in town, we're like, well, they've got help, we'll bond each other. But I think something that really could affect people from having more children is thinking that children are really expensive. When you're blasted with Instagram and all these commercials saying that to have a kid, having children is synonymous with all these really nice products. Like you have to get this, and you have to get this crib, and you have to get this stroller. And this car seat and these clothes. It's we had kids when we had nothing. We were 100% reliant on hand-me-downs and horrible old broken stained strollers that were not cute. Nothing I ever had when I was having babies and having kids, even now, would ever be in a magazine or on social media. we have yucky things. And so I just think that if women knew, if couples knew that you don't have to get all this expensive stuff, like you can put your baby on a blanket on the floor when you get home from the hospital. Like they don't need a lot of stuff. Like, yes, you need a car seat when going home from the hospital, but you don't need a lot of stuff. Like, simplify.
Well, and I think that's maybe what I mean by support. I don't just mean like financial support or even like manpower. I mean like love for the idea of a family, like a community that focuses on family, that makes family paramount. And so where it will be a place of honor, not a place where you're inconveniencing the world by bringing children into it. We have a culture that celebrates those who bring children into it. And so when I say support, I also mean like people who won't insist that you need to have it all together to have babies, that you need to have a bunch of money to have babies, but who will say, yeah, this is the most important thing you could be doing. Go for it.
I think we'll be here for you. Simplify it as we are family oriented and we have a built-in community. And like what Rachel said,
that's the answer to every question.
Yeah, we have a Heavenly Mother. So I think we want to see her in ourselves. And so we want to elevate ourselves to reach that full divine potential in our Heavenly Mother.
That's so beautifully said, Brittany. That's beautiful.
All right. Last question we're going to answer. If people like this, we can do another episode. There's a plethora of questions about us. People are curious. The last question is Mormon stories anti-Mormon?
Should we all say it together on 3?
Sorry, I spoiled it.
Yes. Anytime you have content produced by an ex-member of a club or a group or a faith, they're not going to be the best source for truth about that faith. So yes, Mormon Stories is flaming anti-Mormon content. So tread with caution. But this has been fun, guys. I think hopefully you know a little bit more about us now that we've answered some of your questions. If you have other questions, put them in the comments and we'd love to answer them. Or if you just have questions in general, or you have topic ideas for us here at Word Radio Women, we'd love to hear them. We have a lot of fun hanging out and chatting about this religion that we love so much and our Savior that we love so much. And so with that, we will sign off. And until next time, go give them heaven.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. We assume if you made it this far that you liked our content. So please make sure that you smash that like button and you share this video with your friends. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet to our channel, please make sure that you subscribe and you press the alert button so you receive alerts on every one of our daily uploads. Now, we want to make sure that we keep all of this content flowing for free to you, the viewer. And to do that, we need your help. If you're a person of means, please consider a direct contribution through Venmo or through Zelle, and the links to those platforms will be in the description as well. Also, if you want to help us out, please make sure you buy some of our merch. We got really cool hats, really cool t-shirts for both boy and girl viewers, all available on wardradio.com. And while you're there, you can sign up for our Ward Radio newsletter. You can receive all the really great Ward Radio news directly in your inbox simply by putting your email address in wardradio.com. And finally, if you guys want to help out purchasing some of the equipment in the studio, you can always check out our Amazon wish list that is also available in the description of this video. And either way, whether you're pressing this button here to make sure you're subscribed to our channel, or whether you're watching another video here just because you like our stuff, we look forward to seeing you guys in the next program.